Hey Misty, thank you for sharing about how you see and feel the ACA Code of Ethics 2014 covers assessments. It's interesting how this overarching code or guidelines for all counselors is very limited to what it provides on assessment procedures. I guess it has been like 6 to 7 years since it's been revised, but hopefully assessments held just as much weight and importance in 2014 as they do now. After looking at the ACA Code of Ethics and the specific items that you talked about, I noticed that it does cover a lot of important aspects of assessment procedures. It has tons of sections, but in each section the description is rather vague and it doesn't go into great detail. And I suppose that might be why other groups that specialize specifically in assessments also create their own code of ethics to provide those greater details that the organizations of specific professions do not provide because they have such a wider range of things to cover. I know that in the state of Wisconsin, there is a specific application through the state to engage in psychometric testing. So you have to apply and be supervised for a certain amount of time. So maybe that is more so where like the consequences come into play if one does not follow regulations regarding assessments, or perhaps like brings harm through like improperly implementing assessment procedures. So maybe states more so cover that than the American Counseling Association. And then I like how you mentioned culture sensitivity. I love how you touched on this, and the fact that many other codes don't necessarily bring the focus back on you, the test administrator, or the professional, and mention that like you yourself may have biases and you are responsible for recognizing and addressing those. They might talk about how like an assessment is biased, or maybe the developers were biased, but they don't necessarily talk about you, the professional, interpreting the results or administering the test. And I think that's super important. I like how they put that in there. Something that I noticed was in Code E13. It says counselors define the limits of their reports or testimony, especially when an examination of the individual has not been conducted. So I think like even if an exam has been conducted, it's super important because many who are receiving results could misinterpret them or misunderstand. Maybe they don't understand the full picture, but it's important for us as counselors or test administrators to let clients and examinees know that assessments are just one part of the whole evaluation process, and that even they have limitations, so they may not always be accurate. So, thanks, Misty.